Almost exactly 1 year ago, I did an episode on Major League Baseball's impossibly stupid choice to retroactively elevate the old Negro Leagues to Major League status for statistical purposes. It was plain to see at the time that there wasn't a whole lot of deep deliberation that went into the decision. It was the most obvious example you'll ever see of, I wonder what we can do to make ourselves look good for the race-pandering industrial complex today. And as I alleged in the video, I think it's an action that was specifically targeted at two men and two records because MLB decided, we would score ourselves a lot of race pandering points if we took these records away from Ty Cobb and Rogers Hornsby. They were icky racists, don't you know? And we handed them to Josh Gibson and Oscar Charleston instead. Wouldn't that be great? Can you imagine all the positive notices we will get in the race huckster Twitterverse? And so, 96 years after his retirement and 64 years after his death, Tyrus Raymond Cobb of Royston, Georgia, suddenly became no longer the lifetime leader in batting average. And as for Rogers Hornsby of Runnels County, Texas, exactly 100 years after he established a mark that he and everybody else thought was going to stand for all time, he became no longer the owner of history's best single-season batting average. How did Major League Baseball imagine they were making the world a better place by doing this? Unclear. But I don't think there was all that much thought invested into it, if I'm being honest. And you know why I don't think that? Because as I said back in that video 363 days ago, I know you guys are doing this because you think it solves the problem of having record holders in your record book who 10 or 11 decades ago failed to live up to 21st century standards of racial sensitivity. But when you try to apply brute force solutions to specific targeted problems or perceived problems, as the case may be, you know what the actual result is? 100% of the time, you create unintended, unwanted consequences that you never contemplated, because that's what happens when you attempt to rewrite history in order to make it look more politically agreeable. And sometimes those unintended, unwanted consequences, they stand in opposition to the impression that you were trying to create when you did the thing you did in the first place. So, long story short, if you thought Jack Roosevelt Robinson of Pasadena, California was the man who racially integrated the major leagues, well, you thought wrong, my friend. Well, actually, you thought right for a little over 75 years, but then you started being wrong when the idiot Rob Manfred, in his maniacal desire to be patted on the head by the race huckster industry, declared exactly 1 year ago that the old Negro Leagues are all major leagues now, because when he did that, he also, quite unwittingly, deprived Jackie Robinson of his greatest signature achievement. So, we really should probably stop doing the Jackie Robinson Day ritual every year and having every player in both leagues wear number 42 for that one day in April. Hell, we probably should unretire the number 42 altogether, because according to the rules of the game that MLB has chosen to enact, the man who actually integrated Major League Baseball was a pasty white left-hander named Eddie Klep, a guy who made one appearance in one regular season game for the Cleveland Buckeyes of the Negro American League against the Indianapolis Clowns in June of 1946. And he probably had no idea he was such an historically important figure, at least not when he was summoned from the bullpen by manager Quincy Troop with the bases loaded and one out, and proceeded to let all of the inherited runners score before mercifully retiring the side and never again appearing in another professional ball game ever again as long as he lived. So, why does Eddie Klep erase Jackie Robinson? Because segregation is segregation, is it not? And the major leagues are the major leagues, are they not? So, if we are going to retroactively assert that the Negro American League is a major league whose records all go into the MLB record book, and if we're going to acknowledge the reality, which is disputed by no one, that all professional baseball leagues enforced racial segregation one way or the other until after the Second World War, then I'm sorry if anybody doesn't like it, but according to the rules as Rob Manfred and MLB have laid them out, the man who racially integrated the major leagues is not Jack Robinson, it is Eddie Klep. So I think the reasonable thing to do at this point is to start an Eddie Klep personality cult. We will call ourselves the Kleptomaniac. Maybe we'll sell t-shirts at Curmudgeon Shop, right alongside the ones that say, I ate a Chuck Schumer burger and all I got is E. coli in this lousy t-shirt.